in the bottom right, folks, in the red, the Titan, the gatekeeper of North America. For Onside Gaming, it is Neeb.
In the top left-hand corner, ladies and gentlemen, for Root Gaming, he's the blue Protoss. His name is Creature.
What creature comforts can you find on Cosmic Sapphire?
Well, we have, where are they? I'm going to try and find them. I know there's a little scuttly guy that hangs out like a crab thing. I think they have one of those critters on the map.
That's fair. Although, thank goodness that in the current map pool, we do not have the bots, the crabs that block bases. You know it's bad when players bind rapid repeat rate on a mouse button, not to do anything in the game, but to just click that unit enough that it dies. Like, that's when you know it's a problem. But we got to talk about this because Neeb has a, well, actually this is just a Schrodinger's pylon. It's the pylon that just messes with Creature Scout rather than actually proxying anything.
Yeah. Essentially, Creature here is looking for the pylon timing, saying, all right, you know, you got your 2 gateways up, you got your Cybernetics core, where's your second pylon? I don't see it, what are you doing? Is immediately the thought. And Creature, obviously, going into a match against a player who I think a lot of people would favor, or a lot of people are saying, yeah, Neeb's probably going to 2-0 this. You know, this might make Creature a little bit anxious. You know, it's like, oh, is he just going to try and, like, cheese me and just win really quickly?
Yeah. I feel like, though, if you're Neeb, or just the series planning if you're Neeb is... Pylon goes down, just wants to see what the first 2 stalkers are out of the gateway, and we'll be able to do so. But there we go, there's the cancel. I feel like if you're Neeb, you're playing this game as in, I just need to get to a comfortable position, scout as well as I can, play as standard as possible, and really just put the onus on Creature. No need for Neeb to do anything rather zany, and I feel like if you're Creature, you understand that is going to be Neeb's perspective. So maybe the lack of a gateway is a little bit less scary. I don't know, maybe I'm trying to psychoanalyze these players just a little bit too much, but for now, I mean, we see Nexus go down on both sides. Neeb's aware that this is a stalker opening. He's got his sentries. This will enable so much scouting opportunity as the game goes on, and, well, only difference, actually, Creature went for 4 stalkers before getting his sentries, and Neeb on 2, so technically that's a little more pressure on the map, but Creature's not playing like that.
Yeah. No, Sentry is a very safe unit, as you said. It gets that scouting. It's the utility, really, that is so nice. Is the Hallucinate Phoenix is going to come out. We'll just be able to go across the map, see exactly what's happening in Creature's main, and we'll see the fact that it's a robotics facility going down for Creature. So, not going to be a Twilight Council for Blink, nothing like that. Going to be that robo facility, whereas Neeb will get the Twilight Council, most likely for that Blink upgrade, and then potentially heading into Disruptors.
Yeah, it's always interesting whether players choose to go for Disruptor play, whether it is Charizard Archon for a while. We've seen very occasionally against a pretty heavy Charizard player, you see Colossus get played. Shout out to that fantastic surround from Creator against Neeb when he played Colossus play in DreamHack, DreamHack Valencia. But in general, yeah, it's 2 ways. Charizard Archon or Blink Stalker Disruptor, and Neeb has long been the master of Blink Stalker Disruptor play. That's how he won his guest pickup. So it will be interesting to see, as you say, if this is something that if this is a battle that Creature opts into. I feel like his best opportunity to win a game, or maybe even win the series, although that's doubtful, is forcing the game into asynchronous plays. That probe, oh, hey, nice shot there. Probe goes down, delays the third base of Neeb just slightly. But force him into something different. Asynchronous play. Don't opt into the same tech choice, because you gotta imagine Neeb's just gonna win.
Yeah, definitely. In a straight up match, I mean, you expect Neeb to win there. This is an interesting deviation here for Creature. It's actually going to be the charge research coming through.
Ooh.
The Forge is finishing up, so I imagine this is going to be for +1 ground weapons alongside an Immortal. So this is a very, very different approach that Creature is going to be taking. It's one that's, I mean, I imagine is going to be gearing up for a lot of aggression.
Yeah, I mean, charge lots are fantastic against Stalkers. You get on top of them, because Stalkers work a lot of cannons, they do a lot of damage, and the Blink gives them a ton of mobility. But if you get on top of them, they don't have that anymore. So this is going to be pretty cool from Creature if it does work out. But Stalkers will find the potential for third base, although actually the probe will be missed out a little bit. As Blink is nearing completion here for Neeb, though. He does find the probe. There we go, hallucinating the Phoenix, and this gives him options. Does he go to the main base? Does he blink in there? Does he attack the natural? Where I don't know that he's actually going to be able to get too much done when we look at 6 Stalkers and an Immortal, but if we take to the high ground, maybe there is that. At the very least, this pylon will fall, and Neeb is finding himself. His Nexus is almost done. So the fact that his Nexus is almost complete here and Creature has nothing, that might start to spark some danger sense for Neeb.
Stalker's going to step away 2 of those probes and a nice force field just to keep this army out. A 3rd one as well. Creature going to respond with a few force fields of his own. This is a Stalker. As the force field wars looks like they're going to end, and it's 2 probes and a Stalker that are lost for Creature, as Neeb's going to continue to try and poke in here with just a few units. Splitting up his army though, so if he wants to collapse in he can, but just blinks on out. And yeah, I think Neeb should know at this point that something is going up. As look at what Creature is doing. Pylon and 2 gateways halfway across the map for these Zealot Warpins. His +1 is approaching completion. He already has 2 Immortals out, which will help deal with the Stalker count. And he's going to have these gateways available much sooner than Neeb will. And you see Neeb here. I think he's really got an idea what's going on. He just force fields that, says, all right, I'm not going to let you move out for as long as possible so that I can build up my army.
That's such a weird force field, though. It's not like Creature is posturing whatsoever to make that happen. And the force fields pop. They're done. Creature still doesn't want to move out. He still needs a little bit more time. The sentries will not see these gateways. Neeb has actually been playing very well to start. He got a lot of damage. He killed workers. He's up here, up 11 workers. But this push from Creature, he doesn't have this army supply just yet, but Archon's morphing in on that proxy position. This push may just catch Neeb off guard. Charge is not done for Neeb. +1 is not done for Neeb. Creature has those. But the Stalkers and the Natural, they are going to force Creature to be all in. But Creature was all in from the get-go. There is no 3rd base. And the question now, will Neeb be able to hold?
Yeah, 2 Archons have been added on in. Recall immediately popped because Neeb realizes this is very dangerous. And look at that. Creature gets the shield battery overcharged, just backs on up. Says, all right, that's pretty good there. I'm happy with that value. Is another Archon going to be warped on in. 2 Immortals are available here for Neeb, who's working with, actually a larger army at this point. Again, that 3rd base has been mining for so long. There's really, he's been allowed to just build up this army count. From the start of this game is now the Zealots trying to go on in. The Archons, though, can do so much splash damage here for Creature. They'll be needed to swing this fight. But 1-1 is done for both players, This attack took long enough that Neeb is even on that attack upgrade.
Neeb is doing such a good job as well, forcing the Zealots to fight in the middle field where neither Archons can actually join. And that actually works out very well for Neeb, considering he has 1 Archon. He really does not have that force, but there are 3 Archons for Creature, 4 Archons for Creature. They shred Zealots. So you force them to fight in the middle ground. That does make life just a little bit more complicated, but Creature maybe finding an opening into the Natural here. Zealots from the backside. Stalkers move backwards. No shield battery overcharge pop just yet. Zealots on top of them, but Stalkers still fighting very well. This concave from Neeb, though, is just not something that you can beat. And Creature, he wedges himself into a loss. Game 1 goes the way of Neeb.
Yeah, you just see the expertise there of Neeb knowing exactly how to handle that situation. And, he got a better economy, he got a better army, which is ahead in every single facet of the game. And, yeah, Creature's going to go down 0-1. I think not surprising. But, again, as you're saying, we're seeing a lot of cool ideas from Creature. We're seeing a lot of, really good showings, but it's just things aren't quite coming together. Like, the idea there, 2 base. Instead of going for the blink, you then go for the charge. You get more Immortals so that you can deal with the Stalkers. If that was across the map, 30 seconds, a minute earlier, that game might look a lot different, but it was just delayed so long.
Yeah, the unfortunate fact of that build was that while we saw a Creature totally skip blink, go straight to charge, charge was done for Neeb by the time that attack really happened in earnest. So you didn't really find a timing advantage where you have charged, your opponent doesn't. He had 1 or 2 more Archons, maybe a couple more Archons, and maybe 1 more Immortal. But you need more than that, especially as Neeb has Defender's advantage, as he has shield batteries keeping things alive, and with shield battery overcharge as well. You're right, he hits 2 minutes faster. Maybe that's worthwhile, but the damage that Neeb got with those Stalkers on the other side, knocking down probes, knocking down really anything of use that Creature had, it slowed him down just enough. Well played by Neeb.
Yeah. That's essentially how the game goes. And now we're going to be heading on to Data C here for the 2nd game of this match. Neeb looking to stay undefeated. Creature, again, do you try and mix it up again? I think the timings need to be a lot crisper if you're going to do that.
Well, we're going to find out. Data Seat's a bigger map. You can hide more things on it, but we're into it. Game 2. In the bottom left, folks, in the blue root for root, it's Creature.
In the top right, he's undefeated. Hasn't dropped a single game so far in this group stages, and honestly, I don't think many people expect him to do so. From Onside Gaming, it's Neeb.
I find it interesting that neither player is going for single gate expand on Data C. It's a map that has a ramp on the natural, right? It has a natural ramp, and that leaves you open to that idea. And realistically, Titan, one gate expand is just if you're comfortable with it, is just a better build than any of these 2 gate openers.
Yeah, it really is, and I feel like it's definitely Neeb just being a little bit annoying. I mean, he can also try and delay the Cybernetics core in the same way, which, yeah, looks like Creature will be able to get that up. But it's definitely, it's such a large map that single gate expand, not only is it still safe, but you also have this ramp up into the natural. It's not flat ground. It just makes it so hard for your opponent to really push your natural on this map. But I think both players respecting the fact that the other can be aggressive. They want to play safe. They don't want to do anything too crazy. So just going for the standard 2 gate, Cybernetics core as the follow, and I imagine similarly to last game, Neeb will get up that faster natural though.
Yeah. The funny thing is, though, you talk about being able to defend against things. One gate expand allows you to defend 97% of aggressive Protoss builds if you understand the branches. But I guess if you're worried about Creature doing something really zany, yeah, okay, maybe play a little bit safer. Because also, I mean, if you're the psychology of this, if you're Neeb, you are massively favored. We talked about this last game. Just play standard and don't die. And Creature does not probably want to opt into a macro game super hard, and that's what one gate expand gives you. So I guess from that perspective, yeah, Titan, it does make sense that we are looking at what is quote-unquote a suboptimal build. But where do we go from here? We don't really see tech going up too much. Warp gate from both sides, of course. But we're starting to hit the gas count where we can see a Robo go down, where we can see a Twilight go down, where we can see a Stargate go down.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting here is Neeb actually hid his Stalkers until the pylon was canceled, just so that Creature doesn't know exactly what Neeb is going. And Neeb is actually following it up, going up to 4 Stalkers, so he might try and move these across the map a little bit, try and get a little bit of pressure down. But it's definitely a lot different from the game 1 opening, where he did go for those 2 sentries as the follow-up. And so I think that's, that's one of the ways where you can kind of start to mess with your opponent a little bit. You hide those Stalkers. Creature doesn't know what Neeb's units are. This could have been double adept. Creature has to play it very, very safe, and when these 4 Stalkers come across the map, well, that sentry, it's really far away, so as long as they get off that first volley, I think Neeb should be able to start to push into this natural.
It's 4 Stalkers to 3, and that was a great scout from Neeb. Finds his way onto the high ground. 1 Stalker is dead immediately. Now, he will lose one of his own eventually. I mean, if Creature you gotta kill the Stalker. He gets it now, but it's 3 to... Creature's just kind of dead here. Stalker's on the high ground. Force field's too late. And you gotta pull probes here, and I guess that's saving grace. Probes are good against Stalkers, but this has already been too much. The damage done is just so problematic. Recall is gonna keep 2 of these Stalkers alive, and... At least Creature didn't die, but he's not in a good spot. You can't lose those units early like that.
No, not at all. I mean, Creature, he canceled the attack of his Stalkers on that low health Stalker twice. He canceled it, and then the late force field, that was just disastrous. And sure, you don't lose a lot of workers, but now the army is just so far behind. You see Neeb here using this pylon that he proxied, that he hid that second pylon. He's going to be warping into Adepts, and he's now going to start to look for some economic damage just to push this lead a little bit further.
Now, Creature does have a Dark Shrine on the way, and as we've long said, went behind Dark Shrine, but this is not one of those games where your opponent opens Twilight and doesn't get a Robo for forever, so the DTs go in, and suddenly the game is just over. No. Neeb has his Robo about halfway done, so that's going to be fine. And Yeah, it doesn't even matter. You can't block this off. The gateways are misplaced from the probe harass earlier, so there are multiple openings to find your way into the mineral line, and Creature just taps out. He took too much damage. He is dead.
Yeah.
The Dark Shrine will do nothing